Hi, and welcome to another episode of Cooking for the Yum of It. Today I'm going to be preparing a hot broccoli cheese dip in my slow cooker, and as a special treat for my friend Nick, hi Nick, hope you're watching, I'm going to be doing zoodles in a homemade marinara. Let's get started. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is take our 6 stalks of celery and chop it up nice and fine. Everyone has a different way, I suppose, of chopping celery, so I'm going to just go ahead and do it the way I do. I don't know. I'm going to try to keep everything in camera range, but I've only got me. I need a cameraman, but no one's willing to work for food. So we chop our celery. Okay, just double checking to make sure you can see I'm chopping away. Okay. Did anyone else, did their mother ever tell them never put celery down the garbage disposal? Mine did. I don't know if it's true or not, but I'm not going to risk messing up my garbage disposal to find out. Okay, so that's 1 stalk down. And I'll be right back after I finish the other 5. Okay, now we are going to be chopping the onion. Now, this is I don't know if it's just me, maybe I have a high sensitivity, but I read somewhere once years ago, please don't ask me where, that so that you don't cry while you're peeling the onions, after you take off that first layer, you want to run the onion for a couple of, maybe a minute or so, under some lukewarm water, and then you won't cry. So give me a second. Okay, that's onion number 1. And again, I'm not going to make you watch me prep the whole onion. Just half of both onions. Just half of the first one. And then we're going to use the magic of editing to jump forward to completely finished, finely chopped onions. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, now here we've got my the chopped celery and onions. We'll set that aside for now, because first, come on, turn on. There we go. First we got to melt 1/4 cup, or also known as 1 standard stick of butter. Oh, it's like butter. I love that the verklempt lady scene Mike Myers used to do on Saturday Night Live. Let's get that melting. That's going to take a bit. So I don't want you to lose your enthusiasm for watching. I don't want you to lose interest. So I will turn this off for now and come back to you when the butter is melted and I'm ready to add the onions and celery. Okay, the butter is melted. Now we pour in the celery and the onions into that lovely 1/4 cup of butter, 1/2 cup butter, sorry. Some of the pieces of onion and celery apparently didn't want to get eaten, so they jumped out of the pan onto the floor. Others didn't jump as far. We'll show them, because back into the pot you go. Okay, we're going to let that cook for about, let's see, about 5 minutes, until it starts to look translucent. And that's going to take however long that takes. Oh, this smells... You know, this recipe, I was just thinking as I was preparing the celery and the onions earlier, this recipe reminds me of the almond celery bake that I made previously that my grandmother used to make. Although she had a very sensitive stomach. She would never have put onions at all, let alone this many, into anything. Although we did discover that she was okay with shallots. So when I started cooking for her after she began to not be able to cook as much, after she fell and broke her hip and everything, we discovered, you know, that she could eat the shallots. So I started, the recipes I came across that she was interested in trying were all shallot rather than onion. Okay. Now, I don't know how many of you remember, but this is the sifter I bought recently, because I found this would be easier and less clumpage if I sifted the flour in rather than just, you know, sprinkled it in like most of the time people do. Oh, this smells so good. Going to show that. Now this is some of it came off onto the plate. That's okay. So far I don't see any of the brown bits at the bottom, you know, those brown bits that I love making sure get scraped up when I'm doing my stirring. Oh! Remember, if it hits the stove, it goes back in. If it hits the floor, it gets swept up later when I do my clean. Oh, there's a little bit of, I'll say brown bit, but okay. You're going to want to let this cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. But remember, as well as being an exact art, it is also a subtle science. Cooking, I mean. Okay, turn off the heat. Okay, I've added the 2 cans of soup and the cheese, and I'm adding in the riced broccoli, courtesy of Jolly Green Giant. Ho ho ho! Okay, I remember that commercial first coming on TV when I was a kid, back in the time when I was not an adult. Oh, this one doesn't want to open, so I'm going to show him who's boss. And get my handy kitchen scissors. Okay, now we stir all of that up. Oh, we almost forgot our mushrooms. Mushrooms are one of my favorite fungi. Scrape off the spoon. Sorry, excuse me. And let's get that nice and clean. We place the cover on, and then we cook this. We can do this either on low, cook for 2 to 4 hours, or until ready to serve. So I'm going to put the lid on. We're going to plug it in, and then I'm going to set the timer so that it cooks at low for 2 to 4 hours. Okay, we've got starts. And so oh, come on. Doesn't matter. Manual. Temp, we want to put this on low, and we want to start. We will see back Mr. Hot Broccoli and Cheese Dip in approximately 2 to 4 hours. Okay, it's been just about an hour so far, and I just opened it up a little bit early because I wanted to give this a good stir. Make sure all the ingredients are as well blended and mixed around as possible. Okay, back in an hour. Okay, it's been just about 2 hours, and I'm going to give this another good stir. And now I'm going to take a little taste. Okay, it's a little bit bland, so what we do to get rid of blandness, first we give it a teaspoon of salt, and let's find some garlic. I'm going to put some garlic in it. Garlic makes everything better. Okay. Okay, we're going to let that sit for another hour, in which time we will give it another taste. Now, however, while we're waiting for the broccoli cheese dip to finish with the extra salt and garlic, I'm going to start on the marinara portion of dinner, which is Zoodles spiralized zucchini, and homemade marinara. This is the recipe I promised my friend Nick. I'm using only the finest ingredients that I could afford. I am using Star's extra virgin olive oil since 1898. Now, as soon as the oil is ready, we'll start with the onions and the garlic. But while we're waiting for that, I'm going to get some more of the ingredients ready, which includes opening the can of tomatoes. Now, a lot of people, when they open tomatoes, they use the can opener. Let me move the camera here a little. Open the can this way. Actually, let me try to reposition the camera so this is better, okay? Okay, that's much better. As I was saying, so open the can with the can opener this way. But something I saw, and I've been using the can opener that way ever since, because it keeps the lid from going into the can. Although that really doesn't do anything bad, I suppose. But most people, I think, got used to doing it the other way because they use electric can openers, and that's the way that it works. But there's our can of diced tomatoes. Now, back to the marinara. 1/2 cup. Sorry, 1/2 cup. I was right the first time. Of onion. Let's let that cook for a second there. We're going to wait until they are soft and translucent. Which I think means clear. I'll Google that later and find out. This is on medium heat, by the way. You don't want to make it too hot. It's a delicate balance. You don't want to overcook, you don't want to undercook. That's where the whole exact art and subtle science of cooking. And yes, I did borrow that line from Professor Snape from the Harry Potter books when he was discussing potion making. So while I'm looking for that, I need to find my red pepper flakes. So give me a second. Okay, I couldn't find any red pepper flakes, so I'm going to end up using cayenne pepper. There goes our garlic. Ooh, I think my onions might have gotten a little too dark, but that's okay. Remember, the most is just cooking for the yum of it, and the point of cooking is to have fun. Oh, that smells wonderful. Sauté. Now we're going to add in. Now we're going to transfer this to a larger pot, as you see. Oh yeah, get that all in there. Pour in our diced tomatoes. And we will be adding, how much was that again? 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Tablespoon number 1. Ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for my kitchen. Now we take our spoon and we just that in. Stir, stir, stir your sauce. Okay. Now we're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Let me get the salt here. That's 1 teaspoon. That's 1/2 teaspoon. And 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And now last but not least, 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. If you don't have any red pepper flakes, you can go ahead and use the cayenne pepper. I could have sworn I had some red pepper flakes, but apparently not. Stir, stir, stir the marinara. Then we are going to continue cooking until the sauce reaches a simmer. Once that happens, we're going to reduce the heat slightly and to a medium-low, which I suppose is number 4 on my stove, and continue to let the sauce simmer for about 15 minutes. Or another way to tell that if it's ready is if the oil that will accumulate on the top, why do tops get all the luck? I should count myself lucky because well, I'm not going to go into that joke. It turns a nice sort of a golden orangey color. So let me just get everything else ready. Okay, I'm ready to lower the heat ever so slightly. I'm going to put that between 3 and 4 on my stove's dial. Stir that around a bit, and I will let that simmer for 15 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to get the zucchini ready to go in. Okay, now the first thing I'm going to do is take off both ends of the zucchini. This recipe calls for 2 large zucchini, and these were the 2 biggest ones I could find. And we're going to cut each one into 2 more or less equal pieces each. And now, let me reposition the camera. I will be spiralizing it in my veggie bullet, which does more than just slice. It also wonderfully spiralizes. Now, I used to have one of the ones that you do by hand. Those take a long time, and you always end up with a little carpal tunnel. But see how well this spiralizes it. It's just, if you can see it, yeah. Excellent spiralized zucchini. Okay, now you see each of the zucchinis. These are the center core of the zoodles. Now this happens also with the hand one that you do by hand. So you're always going to be left with these little stubs. And as I mentioned before, I do not like to waste food. Food is expensive. We work very hard to get our food. So I'm going to slice these up as thin as I can. and add them to my zoodles. Now the veggie bullet, very useful kitchen item. There's one recipe I'd like to try. I'm thinking about trying it next week, but I haven't really decided what my next episode is going to be about. But there's one, it's for, I don't know if it's pronounced Tian or Tian, or it's spelled T-I-A-N. I'm not sure exactly how it's pronounced. So, just 2 zucchinis made all that. Isn't it amazing how there's so much more when it's not all compacted together in the vegetable? So let me get everything else ready and we will start the final process of making Zoodles Marinara. Okay, it is now time to add the zoodles, our spiralized zucchini. You want to stir and stir, and you want to get another spoon so you can toss. Oh, another zoodle is trying to escape, so you can toss that. To get them all as evenly coated as possible. Oh, I wish you could all smell this. It just smells like pure heaven, pure perfection. Okay. Okay, now we're going to cover this. Oop. I think I got the... Okay. And let it simmer there for about 4 minutes. This is another one of those exact art, subtle, sciencey things. Because unlike with regular pasta, where you can tell if it's done when you take one out, you throw it on the wall, and if it sticks, it's done. You can't really do that with zucchini. But we're going to give it 4 minutes, and then as it just starts to get cooked, we're going to take it off the heat and serve it up. And we're waiting for that. It has now been 2 hours and 47 minutes that the dip here has been cooking. And you'll remember I added a little salt and some more garlic. Yes, that is good. That's going to be really good. Okay, so there you have it. Zoodles with marinara and the hot broccoli cheese dip, which I have spread on some nice pieces of French bread. Let me just get a little bit of this first. See, that's one of the reasons I cut the zucchini into smaller pieces. Just slice that with my fork there, because it's so long, like a never-ending bit of pasta there. So let's try this. Oh, that is good. The sauce is a little bit sweet. That might be because of the tomatoes, but you can definitely tell the spiciness of the cayenne. Yeah, it's much better with the extra bit of salt and garlic that I added to the hot garlic cheese dip. This would, I think, really go over well at a party once we can start going to parties again. Thank you very much, coronavirus, aka COVID-19. But no, this is actually excellent dip. Oh yeah, now I'm going to finish my zucchini, my zoodles with marinara. That's one of the best parts about a Nutrisystem is that you can eat as many vegetables as you want and the calories do not count. So I will see you all next week. I hope you enjoyed the show. And remember, eat and enjoy. Bye.